everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Poker News Podcast. It is the dream team, just me, Sarah Herring, and my boy, Chad Holloway. We told Jeff Platt, like, get out of here with this shit. Like, we've had enough of you for, like, 10 episodes. Just go to Houston, do whatever. He didn't even, Chad, did you notice, like, he said he's flying to Houston. He didn't even try to, like, hook up with me. He did not even try to hang out with me. It's fine. I don't want to hang out anyways, but like, did you think that was surprising?
Yeah, go back to no gamble, no future. Go over to your Brent Hanks. We don't need you here. No. Yeah, he's Jeff's on his way to Houston right now. The Lonestar Poker Series is at Champion Social. It's going to be a huge event. They're going down there. I think they're going to get to play a little bit. They're going to do some commentary on the live stream. Poker News will be there to do updates as well. It's going to be a big one there. It's the first ever, I think, $1 million guaranteed main event in Texas history. And yeah, Kim Stone and Hayden Fortini, the co-founders, they're doing some good stuff there. And we were there back in, what was it, October? We went to the a stop they had in Houston, and it was a lot of fun.
And then they had another one that I went to, I think the end of January, and it was super, super cool. And they, I think they did like half a Heath's buy-in or something to come do a bounty tournament. And he, of course, busted like just a couple from the money, and he was like devastated and all of that, which is, like the same sad story. But I loved the concept of that tournament. This, we talked about it actually on the podcast, but the concept was basically that it's like your traditional bounty, but everybody actually also who is a bounty has a card, and you can kind of like deal or no deal. Like either you keep your card or take the other person's card. You can either switch or keep your card. And then like some people's bounties were worth like $1,000, $500, $300. I think obviously we would be hoping that the $1,000 one would have like lasted longer, so there was more of a sweat. Like the $1,000 one went pretty fast. But anyways, like really cool. They're always, I think, innovative in what they're trying to accomplish, and very, they're active members of the poker community. So I think they really know what poker players are looking for. And for a small series, they also really offer a lot of, different types of games, which I love to see. And I'm just, of course, as like a Texas girl, I just love to see this, poker popping off out over here.
It reminds me a lot of Run It Up Reno. Just a bunch of people getting together, having fun, some great events, and it's actually a good segue. Reno is a good segue into our guest this week. Is going to be Ben Deach, who is a vlogger. He's actually, by profession, he's a newscaster. He's a news anchor up in Reno. That's his day job, but on the side, he plays a lot of poker at the Peppermill and at the Atlantis, and he does a vlog, and he just released vlog number 110. These, they get tens of thousands of views. It's become quite popular. I've been watching since episode 1. May have made a cameo appearance or two on his vlog, and very excited to welcome him to the show and talk with him later in this episode.
Absolutely. It's so funny. In terms of like my career path, I had thought, ideally, I really want to move to a small town, which I've done. And I thought, okay, great. Like now I would like to see, maybe I could be like a local news girl. Like, wouldn't that be a cute little gig? And I looked into this, and it pays terribly. I don't know if anyone knows, like you have to work really, really hard, and it pays really, really bad. So for those who, I'm sure like once you're Megyn Kelly level or whatever, it's different, but the local newscasters, for those who don't, like take a moment to just appreciate, like that's a hard hustle. That's a tough job. And I don't know that they get all of the appreciation that they deserve.
There's precedent with that in Poker News, right? This is going back a ways, but we were both around when we first started with Poker News. Gloria Balding was a hostess. Yep, she was a hostess here at Poker News who went on to become a newscaster. And I think, as last I knew, she was still doing that and working in that world. But so there's precedent for that.
That's true. And actually, she was really good and like really was perfect for that kind of a job. And that perfect of a fit. She had the best enunciation. I always, sometimes still, I go back and watch her videos and I'm just like, gosh, that girl was crushing it. She was ready for it. She could have been like Megyn Kelly, but I'm pretty sure she has like dog babies and a husband, and who knows now. I actually reached out to her maybe 3 or 4 months ago to do like a Poker News reunion episode, and she didn't respond. So I guess
sometimes people leave poker in the rearview mirror, Yeah. And but speaking of going so far back, Sarah, it's basically the 10th anniversary of Black Friday. It's 2021. This happened in 2011, April 15th, when the government essentially shut down online poker in the United States. And gosh, I remember exactly when it happened, where I was. I was actually sitting right where I'm sitting now. I was working. It was very early in my poker news career. And I remember as this story was breaking, I didn't understand the gravity of it at the time.
Of course.
It was just like, okay, this is just a little hiccup. It's down. It'll be back up in a few hours. It'll be back up the next day. But no, as the day wore on and people were panicking that they had hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars locked up in their accounts that they had no access to. And then in the days that followed, where they, Full Tilt didn't have money to pay players back, PokerStars did. It was just madness. And of course, most of us know the fallout of that in the past decade. And it's crazy to think that that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it was also early in my poker news career, and I was on a plane back from the NAPT, RIP, the NAPT Mohegan Sun. And I remember because, all these bougie poker players, that's right, Christy Arnett, we're talking about you. I was with Christy and a bunch of just, great US based poker players. We were all on our way back to Vegas, and all of them had paid the money for the Wi-Fi on the way back, from Connecticut or wherever we flew out of. Which was like at the time $20 or something to get Wi-Fi on your phone for the flight back. And I was like, oh, they're so bougie. Like, and then everyone, like, this just totally all throughout the airplane, there started to be this buzz and this panic as people realized what was happening, and as people tried to check their bank accounts and or their Full Tilt accounts. And Christy had just won an F-Tops like maybe 9 months or so before, and mini F-Tops actually. And yeah, it was like 30K or something, and she was freaked out. It was really, but also I had the exact same thing of, I think, not realizing the gravity of the situation. And more than a decade later, no, almost a decade later, I guess, it's really, I guess I only now, maybe in the last couple years, genuinely think that we might pull through this at some point. Like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would just have said, okay, like, everyone can just keep dreaming, but we're not getting this thing fixed ever. And I feel like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit now.
With 2020 and the pandemic, obviously a lot of terrible things happened that year. Live poker essentially shut down, and we're seeing that return. But one thing, silver lining through it out, was online poker. Right, it boomed because people were stuck at home, so we've seen a big boom in online poker. And in the United States, I think that was a good thing for a number of reasons. Number one, most casinos shut down, and they seen the online operators, the Borgatas of the world, who had an online poker, an online gaming presence, were still making money. We're still offering some gaming. Well, they couldn't do anything because they were shut down. So I think it was good in that regard, that it opened the eyes to a lot of these other casinos that, okay, we need to start considering online gaming, online poker as a source of revenue, because who knows what's going to happen in the future, and it's better than just being shut down completely. So I think that's good. I think it's gotten on the radar of a lot of corporate casino decision makers, maybe some politicians even. And we're seeing that. We had Representative Jim Casper out of North Dakota on the podcast a few months ago, and he's working on a bill in his state to try to get some support for online poker. We're seeing it in Illinois. Right now, we've got 5 states with online legalized regulated poker, Michigan being the latest. And right now, everything's clicking there. So it is kind of an exciting time. It's never going to go back to what it was pre-Black Friday, where anybody in any state can just fire up PokerStars or Full Tilt. Those days are gone. It's going to be a state-by-state basis. Hopefully we see some interstate compacts, and we get back to at least a glimmer of what it once was. And, fingers crossed, I think the dream would be at some point, say we have 25, 30 states all in this interstate compact, and then they're somehow allowed to join the rest of the world players. That would be pretty close to being back to normal. And PokerStars has a footprint in the United States already, in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, in Michigan. We're hearing GGPoker. We're seeing movement from them that they want to get into the United States. So yeah, 10 years ago, Black Friday decimated online poker in the United States, but here we are a decade later and things are looking up.
I am just really excited and enthusiastic to see, and maybe that's also part of it, as you sort of start to at some point temper your hopes, where it's like the little things mean quite a lot more and little movements seem to make the right direction. And this actually leads me to a little promo that I want to shout out. We did decide on our next Poker News debate, and the subject is going to be, do ambassadors have a moral responsibility when representing sites that are unregulated? And I'm going to actually have both of the guys prepare to argue both sides and like flip for it, have the sweat go down for everyone. And we're going to do this on May 4th at 1 p.m. Central Time, I want to say. But you can just keep track of our socials and we will make sure to put it all out there for you guys. And then we will also upload separately the podcast version so you guys can hear that debate. But if you join us live, you can jump in, you can ask your own questions, you can share your own opinions. So May 4th is the next Poker News debate. And before we get too deep into the show and before we talk to your boy Ben, let's just really quick hear a word from our sponsors, Elite Chip Care.
Are your chips dirty and unsanitary? Elite Chip Care's ultrasonic cleaners kill bacteria and pathogens without using chemicals. Protect your team from potentially hazardous chemicals, UV, and gases. For daily sanitizing of your chips, our laboratory oven will eradicate most viruses using only heat. Up to 2,500 chips sanitized in just 3 minutes. Avoid the reoccurring expense of costly chemicals, UV bulbs, and gases. Safe, inexpensive, and sustainable. Visit EliteChipCare.com.
Well, of course, talking about Black Friday has you sometimes in a little bit of a somber space. And I think that's the only time then that it makes sense to talk about the loss of a player that I've heard just in the last few days. I've seen so many stories and so many people coming forward to talk about David Valdez and to share how much they enjoyed playing with him. And I unfortunately never met him, but he passed away at a super, super young age, just 29 years old.
Yeah, I actually had the opportunity to meet him right before the pandemic, January 2020. The last stop I really traveled for and worked was the World Series of Poker circuit at Thunder Valley, which is in Northern California, outside Sacramento. And he just killed that stop. He won 2 rings. I think he had 5 cashes. He ended up winning the casino championship title for a seat into the global casino championship. He's a 3-time circuit ring winner, just a regular and a crusher at Thunder Valley Casino Resort, really well known in that North California area. And unfortunately, he said passed away at just 29. I have heard that it was from a heart attack. It's unconfirmed, but his loss was felt by a lot of players. It was all over social media. We've got an article up on Poker News kind of remembering him and his poker accomplishments. For all intents and purposes, he was a great up and coming poker player. He was looking forward to going to the World Series of Poker, had amassed $374,000 in lifetime earnings according to the Hendon Mob. And like I said, three circuit rings. He's got other titles, side events at WPT Deep Stacks, and Ante Up Poker Tour. And just his nickname was Beast because that's what he certainly was on the felt. And unfortunately, he passed away here at a young age, and his loss is felt not only by that poker community, but those of us here at Poker News as well.
And if you're interested, there's a GoFundMe. There's a link on the Poker News article to help his family pay for funeral expenses. And this is actually something, this is like a weird sidebar, but my husband now sells life insurance and also death expenses. And so this is something I'm dealing with and talking about now on the daily, on the regular, understanding. And it's so interesting because I didn't realize, but basically when you die, it costs like at a minimum anywhere from like $3,000 to $10,000 depending on what type of arrangements you're looking at. And that basically for a lot of grieving families, and especially for people who pass away unexpectedly, you're unprepared for an expense of this kind, and that you're already very busy, right? Being sad and hurt and shocked. And so having to deal with trying to come up with this kind of money and stuff is just really bananas. It's something I guess I hadn't thought that much about. You can, by the way, get yourself death expenses for like pretty cheap if you're young, very cheap, you know, $5, $10, $15, $20. So just something for our audience to consider and think about. It's, you know, it doesn't have to be like you need $1 million life insurance policy or something, which I think when I thought about life insurance, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, okay, I don't need that because obviously someone will murder me. Like, that's just so standard. But really just getting a policy in place that's something that's like $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 so that your family doesn't have to deal with that. And I unfortunately was just at a funeral a couple weeks ago from someone who was 25, and they also had a GoFundMe set up. And when I saw the amount that they'd been able to get on the GoFundMe, I just realized like there was a large deficit there. And so if there's anything you guys can give or contribute, I haven't checked out actually the Valdez GoFundMe because something tells me when something like this goes down in the poker community, like people just show up, and it's not something I think we have to worry about as much in the poker community.
Contact your local life insurance and provider and use code PokerNews to save.
Yeah, right. He's got plenty of calls, but it's funny, like in my personal life, it's just something that I hadn't really thought that much about that I now think and talk about all the time with my old man. But okay, so moving on, during this week, one of the stories that stood out the most to me as I was kind of looking and seeing what we had going down, it was Fedor Holz winning a GGPoker Festival title. You know, retire, don't retire, do whatever you're going to do. It doesn't matter what Fedor does. Like everything he touches basically just turns to gold.
I agree. I feel like we're talking about him on this podcast all the time because he's always doing something. Here, he topped a field of 466 runners to win. It was event number 37, the high version, $1,500 buy-in Sunday marathon. Took it down for $125,000. Timothy Adams was also at that final table. He took fourth. Mike Watson was there as well. He took eighth. So tough final table. Fedor Holz gets it done. And this GGPoker Festival, the Spring Festival, is happening right now. You can go to Poker News and follow live updates throughout. And we're actually going to do a special GGPoker Spring Festival Poker News podcast episode in the coming weeks, where we're really going to dive into the entire festival, all the winners, all the big storylines. So that's certainly something to look forward to.
Well, while we're in it, let's just take a break here and hear a word from GGPoker.
Hi, I'm Daiva Barron, the Outreach and Community Advocate at GGPoker. I love seeing people have fun and enjoying the game at the tables. GGPoker is dedicated to building a very strong community who can enjoy the huge choice of tournaments and guarantees on offer daily. Throughout the year, I'll be focused on achieving more diversity as GGPoker enters new markets and continues growing in current ones. There are already a number of exciting initiatives planned, which I look forward to sharing. I've always been passionate about equal representation at poker, especially for women. So to all wonderful ladies out there, please come and join me at Fantastic Ladies in Poker group on Facebook, the world's leading female-focused poker community. You'll find the Flip members friendly, welcoming, and supportive. I hope to see you in the group or at the tables very soon.
So we talked a little bit about, the Fedor semi-retirement. I think there's a lot of retirement/semi-retirements that we see and that go around in the poker space. But I was, I think not surprised maybe to see that Sam Trickett and Party Poker are sort of parting ways in the face of Sam Trickett looking to spend more time with his family and sort of change his life direction. And I say not surprised because I haven't heard so much from Sam Trickett in a little while. This seems like kind of an organic, natural transition.
It's interesting. It's bittersweet, right? I'm very happy that he has started a family, that he's got the wherewithal, the freedom to choose what he wants to do. And he wants to choose to spend time with his family and kind of take a break from poker. And we see this a lot in the poker world. Jason Mercier is another one who jumps to mind, who really, said, I'm going to start a family. I'm going to focus on that and leave poker as maybe just a here and there thing for now. Now, I've seen that a lot over the past decade. Like you said, you and I have been in the poker industry for a while. So we've seen this before where people step away to spend time raising their children, what have you. And then maybe they venture back into the game a little bit later on when their kids get older, or whatever the case may be. I think that'll be the case with Jason Mercier at some point. I think it will probably be the case with Sam Trickett down the road. But for now, we're not going to see much of him. And Sam Trickett is a legendary player from the UK. The all-time leading money winner in the UK. If not, he's number 2 on the list. And it's just he's going to be missed. But like you said, he has kind of faded from the poker spotlight, I feel like, in the last year or two. And I wish him good luck, and looking forward to maybe seeing him years down the road.
And can I just say, his baby is stinking adorable. Like, adorable. So Chad, you did an interview with someone else who's recently made this, can I say made the transition? Is that like inappropriate? I have also recently made the transition into parenthood, and I can completely see how it shifts and changes your life. And, poker is a game that takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work. And so I can see how, especially in those younger years where you need to invest more in your children, it's fair and probably makes sense to take a break. But not everybody's taking a break. Some people are still digging right in.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested to talk to Ben Deach out of Reno. He's a vlogger, as I said at the top of the episode, a newscaster as well. So he is also a fairly new father, and in fact spoke with me while his son was down for a nap. And I was curious to ask him about juggling life as a newscaster, as a new father, and as a poker player, as a grinder. He grinds the cash games pretty hard up there in Reno. Like I said, he also finds time then to vlog about it, to record and edit them. They're very entertaining. The link will be in the show notes. You definitely should check it out. He's got 110 vlog episodes as of this recording, and they're only getting better. I've watched it from day 1 to 110. I've watched his channel grow. I've watched him refine his craft, and I'm very excited to have him as a guest on the Poker News podcast to talk about his vlog and the Reno poker scene. Here's my interview with Ben Deach. All right, I am with our guest this week, a friend of mine from up in Reno, Mr. Ben Deach. You are a vlogger, you're a news anchor, you're a poker player, you're a busy man, you're a new father, recently new father, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show, Chad. I've been listening to this podcast since it was the days of Rich Ryan and Donnie Peters and Jason Somerville in the halls of the Rio every single day talking about the WSOP. So it's good to be able to join you.
Well, I've been watching your stuff from the get-go, from vlog number 1. I've even been a part of a couple of them during Run It Up Reno when I was in the area. And I just love the poker scene in Reno. I enjoyed all my time up there at Run It Up Reno. And that's why I like to watch your vlog. I get to live a little vicariously and keep in touch with that poker scene at mainly the Peppermill, but yet sometimes you go to the Atlantis. So for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about who you are as a poker player and like when you first got into the game.
The first year I played was 2008, and it was just a gradual process of learning how to play and figuring out the nuances to the game. And it didn't take me long to realize that being a cash game guy was clearly who I was. I'd always had a job at that point. I was a radio talk show host. I moved into TV in 2015, but it's like I need to be able to control what hours I play. And it also seemed to me that there was more skill in cash game poker, though I'm sure some might try to debate that. But I wasn't really chasing the huge scores, so to speak. I was happy just winning 100 here and 100 there and 100 here. I had no problem with that. So I liked the fact that I was able to do it, and I was just able to continue with it. Reno obviously is not the best place for poker, but as you pointed out, it's kind of a hidden gem in some respects, right? Because there are a lot of good games here. There aren't a lot of sharks here, which is one of the things I like a lot. And there's a lot of the big time whales that to keep driving the game over the course of now more than a decade for me. So that's been cool as well. But
there's a good amount of there's a good amount of OMCs there, right? Which is one of my favorite things I've learned from your vlog. OMC standing for Old Man Coffee.
Yeah, I didn't make that term up. I believe it was Abe Lyman that did, but I seem to be the guy that has taken it to the next level, because I think Reno is like the OMC capital of the world. I mean, there are so many guys here that fall into that category. And we're talking, for those who haven't heard that, it's basically these older guys, retired guys, who basically sit back and wait for aces and kings. They come not to win money, but they come to socialize a lot of the time, even though they're bitter half the time anyway. but they come to socialize and talk with other OMCs, and occasionally take a shot. But it's funny how they always seem to fall into the same category of player type, very tight, but sometimes they'll occasionally put more chips in the pot if they like have a grudge against you, like you pissed them off, then they'll come after you. So sometimes that can be a technique you can use as well.
Yeah, I enjoy watching you play. I've actually learned quite a bit. I hadn't played much cash in recent years. I, was a tournament guy chasing that glory, but because of my busy schedule, cash games were more kind. But I needed to learn. I had been out of cash games for a while, and so you playing mainly 2-5, and I don't know. I learned a lot about how to play against certain players, how to play in these games, and I've seen my win rate go up. That's one of the reasons I like your vlog is because it's educational but also entertaining, and part of that entertaining aspect is you mix in bits of your professional life, which is as a news anchor, and you've actually done poker segments as part of your news anchor job, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, when I started the vlog, I kind of thought, well, maybe I should focus, obviously I'm playing poker, but I should work in my job here and there because people would be into it. And I quickly learned that that's just not the case. I mean, we got some hardcores that are, but and I love them for it. But once I was able to pick up, 50 or something vlogs down the road, that's like people are here for the poker. That is what they want to see. They want to see me play crazy hands, and that is it. And if I try to focus primarily on that, which once I was able to do that, I saw a lot more subscribers and things coming in. But as far as, yes, covering poker as a news reporter, I usually average one poker-related story a year. And admittedly, 2 of them have been the exact same story. When I covered Run It Up Reno and the phenomenon of Run It Up Reno, bringing in people from all over the globe to play in these things. And the future of Run It Up Reno, by the way, is somewhat uncertain, I'm hearing, so I don't really have an update on that. But if I do, I'll be sure to let you know. But I've done that. I did the Mike Postle situation too, as one of the news-related poker segments that I was able to cover. And you should have seen, by the way, the meeting of the newsroom when people were kind of like bringing this up to me. They were like, "Well, who says he's cheating, Ben? Are you the one calling him a cheater?" And I'm sitting here going, "How do I explain to a whole bunch of people who don't know poker that there is a 100% chance this guy cheated?" It was like one of these weird moments. I didn't really know how to handle it, but I'm like, if you know, you know, kind of thing.
Sure, yeah, and it's tricky, right? It's journalism, so you always got to be careful. I imagine it's difficult to pitch poker stories and actually have them, run with them. So I think it's really cool anytime poker gets in the mainstream media. And I've dealt with people that don't know poker and the frustration of trying to explain the game to them and have them understand it. So let's talk about your vlog. 110. I just watched the latest one yesterday. Like I said, I've watched every single one of them. I love them. What's the process like? Do you aim to have like one a week? Do you spend a lot of time editing them? I mean, you're so busy as it is between work, playing poker, and like I said, being a recently new father, you're still doing the vlog as well.
I try to aim for one a week, and so far that's been good. I see some guys do more than that. Some guys do less than that, but the 1 a week recipe has worked out well for me. It's about as much as I can get in because, as you said, the editing does take a lot of time, but the more I do it, the faster at it I get. And by the way, I'm hoping for vlog 112. I just finished 111. It's not out yet. And I'm hoping for vlog 112, I'm going to get pretty much a graphics overhaul. It's been kind of a complaint that I've had that my graphics aren't quite up to the par of some other vlogs, and they're right. They're not. I think my video has been as good as anyone's, but graphics are not. So I'm working on overhauling those, which will add to the editing time, but hopefully I'll kind of smooth that out. Yeah, it hasn't really been all that difficult though to get them in. I just get a few hours in here, a few hours in there, and usually by the end of the week I'm able to put a new one up. And clearly that's the key in YouTube land. You have to be consistent with it. Your viewers don't want to see you, take several months off and then come back. They want you to bring the consistent content, and I've been trying to deliver that for them. And as a result, the subscribers and the view counts have been going up of late.
One of the stories this week in the news, poker news world, was Sam Trickett kind of taking a backseat in poker, stepping away because he wanted to focus on his family and his young child. And I know you have a young child as well. I think late last year you welcomed a son into the world. What's it like being a new father, and trying to not only juggle poker, that's probably challenging enough, but the vlog as well?
It's been great. Yeah, he was born in January of 2020, so he's He's going on that 15-month range around there, and he's walking now, and it's just been great. I have him with me 3 days a week, and it's great to have him. And just watching him grow has been just truly the experience of a lifetime, because I don't really have much family. Obviously, I have my parents. They've both been great. I don't have any siblings or really too many other family members that I ever in contact with. So that I have my son now has been great. It does obviously decrease the time that I'm able to play a little bit, but usually for the last several years anyway, it still hasn't changed all that much. I've been a guy, I usually play, I call it 2.5 days a week. I play pretty much a full shift on Thursday and Friday, and then a half shift sometimes on Sunday mornings, sometimes on Monday nights, or whenever I can get them in. So while it has impacted it a decent amount, I didn't play a ton to begin with, so there wasn't a huge impact necessarily to be made.
You are a big sports fan. We've seen that in the vlog, and I know you love the San Francisco 49ers. I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, so I got to ask, because they just had a blockbuster trade a couple of weeks ago, which I feel greatly benefited my Miami Dolphins. So I'm curious, from the perspective of a San Francisco 49ers fan, how you feel about that.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. I really don't. I think that the Miami Dolphins absolutely won this trade. They got 3 first-round picks from the 49ers, when I don't think the Niners needed to make this trade at all. I think they should just be sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo, because when he's healthy, he is the goods. And I continue to believe that if they trade him to the Patriots, he's going to go win 12 games or 13 games every year for him if he stays healthy. Now, obviously, that last part is a big if, because he hasn't always been able to do it. Now, do I trust Kyle Shanahan to make the right decision? I do. So whatever he's planning here, I do think there's a good chance it'll work out. But I think there's an equally good chance it won't. So I don't necessarily know. I mean, they didn't need to give up all these picks to draft Mac Jones at 3. That doesn't seem necessary to me. But maybe they won't draft Mac Jones. Maybe it'll be Trey Lance or Justin Fields. The odds on all 3 of them seem to be about equal. So they could go either one of those 3 directions, and we'll see what they do. But yes, my initial reaction is that it's unnecessary, and chances are it could easily be a bust. So I don't know. But obviously, if they're winning a Super Bowl here in a couple of years, then I'll have to say, you know what? I think Kyle knew what he was doing.
Right. Well, I felt, for once as a Dolphins fan, felt some pride and joy that they made a great move that seems to will hopefully help them. But we'll have to wait and see. It should be an interesting football season. Now, one of the things you did in your vlogs for a while, this is pre-pandemic, was you would travel a lot to sporting events. We'd get to see you at a football game or baseball games. You even traveled to Wisconsin at one point and played at a local casino here that I've frequented over the years. You hoping to do that again now that the pandemic is subsiding a little bit, I guess we'll say?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember you and me talking about it years ago when I was asking you about playing poker in the Midwest, and you recommended Potawatomi Casino, and I went there and the games were great. So I'd love to get back there. Also, Jack Casino in Cincinnati, my other favorite destination back there. I think those who live in the Midwest, that's like a great place for poker. I mean, you're probably not going to find a ton of sharks, but there's a lot of people with money around there that will jump into those games. So I think people who are around there have it pretty good, and I'm anxious to go back. The thing that I want to do, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it, but I'll do it at some point in the next couple of years, is to get in my car and drive up across the country, drive to basically the Boston area, check out Encore Boston Harbor, and then drive on down the East Coast, checking out some different rooms and vlogging along the way, and then back across the South to come back here. I figure I'll need at least 3 weeks to do it, if not more, which is about the maximum I can ever dream to get off from work at the same time. So we'll see if I can pull that one off, but that's definitely on the agenda, to just make that coast to coast trip in my car, vlogging the entire way. I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to even more vlogs. And if those who are listening want to start checking you out, where can they do it? Where can they follow you?
YouTube.com/Ben Deach. And we keep getting them up there pretty consistently, 1 a week. And I've pretty much eliminated all non-poker content from the channel. So that's worked out, because as I mentioned before, people are making no bones about it. They are here for the poker, and I respect that. And the crazier the hands I can get in, the better, clearly.
I think we all want to see more Octo Crab.
Oh,
which
man,
is,
not
for
me.
those, yeah.
I can't win with it, and I can't beat it. It's a bad combination.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that's the 8-3, the old 8-3 Octo Crab.
Yep, it's I think more people mention that to me than anything else from the vlog. when they come up to me in different card rooms. They're like, hey, I just played the Octo Crab the other day and I thought of you. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you win with it, then so be it. But yes, that was one of the more famous hands on the vlog when I managed to get in top set against a pair of threes and just a backdoor flush draw, and then boom, boom, running diamonds to win this guy the pot. Whenever he comes in, by the way, I still see him. We always refer to him as the Octo Crab, even though I don't think he remembers the hand at all.
Well, I look forward to some more big hands. Those of you listening or watching, definitely check it out. And Ben, thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and good luck at the Felt.
Really appreciate it, Chan. Thanks so much.
Well, I, for one, know that I'm going to now have to spend like the next 2 weeks going back through and watching all of Ben's vlogs. Where have I been? How have I missed this? Vlogging is kind of one of my favorite, forms of content. I just feel like you really can get a taste and a flavor for who people are, but also it's such a labor of love from somebody, so many things to learn, and putting themselves out there and in front of the camera. I think in poker, it's my favorite type of content. And so I am excited. Watch out. I'm probably not going to have anything else going on for the next 2 weeks. But for the rest of the poker world, there's plenty going on for the next 2 weeks. As we know, we have tons of overlapping tournament series, Poker Stars, Party Poker, GGPoker. Basically, if you're a poker site, you're in the mix now. I think even 888 has jumped in it too, right? ACR maybe jumped in. I saw the other day, like if you're a poker site, you're trying to do something for the Spring Championship of online poker, the original, the OG, which you guys, we did say last week, this was going to be a scoop episode, but because of how many people are really busy playing scoop, we're actually not going to get all the interviews done until next week. So next week will be the scoop episode. But if you're a poker player, this is fantastic. And this is exactly what you're looking for. And Niklas Astedt won a scoop and a GG Millions title. He needs them both.
He's arguably the best online poker player in the world. He is just a crusher. He has been for many years, and he's just proven that this week by winning 2 major titles. The first was the PokerStars Scoop event number 31 high, $1,000 50 buy-in, no limit hold'em 8 max. He took that down for $85,000, and it was his 5th Scoop title and his 8th overall Coop title on PokerStars. And then if that wasn't impressive enough, he goes over on GGPoker. They have the Super Millions every week. It is their kind of flagship tournament. He's played it pretty much every single time. I think this is like week number 43-ish that this tournament has been going on. Don't quote me on that, but this was his first victory. Took it down for over $1 million, almost $1.1 million. Topped a stacked final table, which this tournament always is. Had Jason Kuhn, Joe Alviera, David Yan, Sammy Caliporo, Sam Greenwood. It's just a who's who, but the Swedish pro got it done. Like I said, winning a scoop, winning this GG millions, 1.1 million, also 125,000. It's been a good couple days for one Niklas Astedt.
I feel like that's how it goes too. Like once you're just like on a roll, once you're on a heater or whatever it is, you just can't lose. Just keep it going. He needs to play everything he can, and right now he's lucky because he has everything to play and at whatever bankroll he wants.
I don't know if it'll be possible. It might be hard. I don't even know where I would begin to try to get a hold of him, but I might. I think he would be a great guest on the podcast. I don't know if he does much poker media or anything like that. He's, an online grinder, but I'll maybe work some connections, work my network, and see if we can't get him for an interview, because I'd love to chat with him. Like I said, he's a legend in the online poker space for sure.
Work your network, Chad. That's what it's there for. Well, last week we sort of teased at the very end that if you would write a review, maybe you could win the book, which Chad had done a review on and really sort of talked to us about success in satellites.
It's Poker Satellite Success by Bernard Lee. He was our guest. He gave us some.
Why is that so hard for me?
It was every time I wrote it too, I was like, I always double checked it for whatever reason. I wanted to say Satellite Poker Success.
Yes, that's me too.
But it's a great book. Listen to the episode, and like you said, we're giving away a couple. So we did a contest on Twitter, And our winner on Twitter, announcing it here for the first time, is at Jeremy Judd. So congratulations, Jeremy, on winning a copy of Bernard Lee's Poker Satellite Success. And we also said, yeah, if you leave a review, you'll be entered to win. And that winner is, his name is Jason. He goes by JB901 in LA, according to his 5-star review he left to Sarah. And that review says, I've never written a podcast review, but have been listening to this podcast for years. It's taken on several iterations over the years, but Sarah, Jeff, and Chad are a great combination of wit, sarcasm, and true journalism that keeps you coming back for more. Great interview with Bernard Lee. I've always enjoyed his great insight into the game and recently into satellite play. I plan on picking up the book, but would love one from Poker News Pod Crew if possible. Thanks, guys. You are the best, Jason. Congratulations, Jason, because you do have a book. You've won it. I don't know how I'm going to get a hold of you because there's not a way to contact you through the review you left, but I'm assuming you listen to the podcast, so you're hearing this. Get a hold of us at Poker News on Twitter or at Chad A. Holloway. I'll make sure that you get a copy of the book.
Are your DMs open, Chad?
I think so. I'd actually have to check. Otherwise,
I don't know that they are, because
I've
got quite a few people who were interested in working for Poker News in the last couple of weeks. I mean, not so many, like 5 or something. And a lot of times they were only to me and Jeff. And I think that's probably because maybe you were not receiving. You need to open your DMs, Chad.
I guess that could be the case. I'll have to check it out, but otherwise they can just at me, and I usually see it and we'll respond. And anybody else listening, go and give us some more reviews because we need to balance this out, right? We have some reviews. I was looking at this one. And let's see, here's a 1-star review, Sarah. People who don't fully grasp the definitions of the words they say, basically a useless podcast.
Oh, fuck that guy. Whoever said that, fuck him. I don't know, or her. Whoever.
And then there was one that it says it's a 2-star review. Decent podcast is the title. I really miss the old school PN pod, especially when Christy Arnett was hosting. The new crew will have to do.
Fair enough, though. Come on. I just love
it actually is interesting because the Poker News podcast has been around now for a long time, and it has taken on a lot of iterations. You mentioned Christy Arnett earlier, Donnie Peters, Rich Ryan, Matt Parvis. There's been a lot of hosts of the podcast, but I feel like right now you, Jeff, and myself have a pretty good streak going on.
Yeah, we're pretty much fire. So if you guys like us, leave us a review and we'll just try to get you as much free swag and stuff as we can. If you genuinely like us, we will give you as much free things as you possibly can. And speaking of, I do have some things to forward you, by the way, in terms of our team. And I'm still looking to fill several video positions. If you know videographers in Las Vegas, that'd be even better. But ideally people who know something about poker and who also are into like the video / presenting space, that would be amazing. But Chad, how is your search going?
Yeah, so I'm looking for Las Vegas-based reporters to help with events in Las Vegas and the World Series of Poker when it rolls around. There's an article up on Poker News right now. It says apply to be a Poker News live reporter today if you want. There's information about what the job entails, and then there's a link to apply if you're interested. So if you're in Las Vegas, you're interested in a freelance fun position covering poker tournaments, this might be the gig for you. I encourage you to reply. The link will be in the show notes. It'll also be all over the Poker News social media. So check it out. We're looking to add to the team now that live poker is coming back, now that the World Series of Poker is on the calendar. And Sarah, I'm hopeful that we're going to have more WSOP news to talk about coming up. I know the schedule for the online bracelet events is supposed to be released here this week. So fingers crossed that happens. I also am confident and hopeful that there will be more news coming down the pipeline in the next week or two. So fingers crossed.
What about if you're not from Vegas?
If you're not from Vegas, you still would have a chance. You got to be the right person, the right skills, especially like a videographer. Right now, we're looking for mainly live reporters that are based in Vegas. But if you're a good fit and you're located in another area of the country that is a hot spot for poker, maybe Florida, the East Coast, even here in the Midwest, California is another one. You could always fill out the application and we'll see what happens.
And just say, I'm not a Las Vegan, but I could be if I needed to be. All right, cool. We really appreciate you guys reaching out. And for those who did slide into the DMs, I did see your messages. we are compiling everything. And I will forward them, the ones that Chad did not get in terms of live reporting, to Chad immediately. We did have some homies from Florida. At least one guy I remember was from Florida. And yeah, I think you guys have good chances. That's what I think. If you listen to the Poker News podcast, obviously you're like going to be leaps and bounds ahead of most everyone else. I hope that's one of the questions you ask, right, Chad? Like when they apply, it's like, okay, but do you listen to the Poker News podcast?
I mean, it certainly should be. Like if I get to the one-on-one interview, I'll be like, what was your favorite episode?
Yes. Okay.
And we'll find out. We'll find out what if they listen or not. Yeah.
What is your favorite one of Sarah's unpopular opinions? Okay.
What does Sarah say at the end of every show? Do you listen to the end? Right.
But you know what I used to say, right? Do you know what I used to say?
Gosh, I don't remember. That's how the cookie crumbles?
I used to say, if you don't like it, don't fucking listen. And then I thought it was getting too aggressive and people were getting butthurt about it. But, and then I moved to Deuces, which seemed like a little more neutral. But yeah, when I first started and like people would complain about things and say things, like I was just like, it's fucking content on the internet, dude. Like if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Why are you saying anything? Anyways, I don't say that anymore, but for those who are listening now, that's a good little tidbit for the future. The Deuces is Sarah in the like woke age.
It's like when you bust a poker tournament and you're like, good luck, and you walk away. That's like poker language for like, fuck you all.
Go
right? Like
yourself.
I just busted the tournament.
Yeah.
The Deuces is Sarah's way.
Good luck. Exactly. Deuces is my way of saying, if you don't fucking like it, don't listen, because that's how cool it is. That's how the internet should be. People should just calm down and just, if you don't like somebody, don't follow them. If you don't like the podcast, don't listen to it. There's so much great stuff out there. You don't need to waste your time watching all this garbage that you hate. That being said, I do appreciate some constructive criticism. I will say the older I've gotten, I have managed to be able to stomach a little bit of constructive criticism. And I do read the YouTube comments and such. And I have actually heard some things that I've been like, oh, okay, like the sound quality here is not good. Let me see what I can do. How can I adjust and fix this? So I like, they're within reason, but also thank you guys for listening. Deuces.
Run It Once is a brand new online poker site founded by poker superstar Phil Galfond, who has the player's experience at heart. Run It Once plans to make online poker fun and less predatory while providing ample rewards and innovative features at the same time. All new Run It Once players who download the software via PokerNews are entitled to a 100% deposit bonus worth up to €600. What makes this welcome bonus unique is that you can make as many deposits as you like for that first 30 days after your first deposit. This makes it perfect for those players who do not want to or cannot deposit $600 in one chunk. Be sure to check it out at once.run/pnpod. That's once.run/pnpod.